zoomed in on Stephanie White because we watched you sabotage Caitlin Clark versus the LA Sparks. And I had a feeling that they would beat the Phoenix Mercury without Caitlin Clark because the Mercury stink. And now we are in a dire situation to where if the Indiana Fever lose this game versus the Las Vegas Aces with Caitlin Clark playing, it is going to push the BS crap narrative that they are better without Caitlin Clark even further. Stephanie White.
The locker room doors weren't enough to stifle the shouting. Caitlin Clark finally hit her breaking point,
tensions
and the
surrounding
target was
the
clear.
Indiana Fever have become the subject of intense speculation. Reports and fan discussions have fueled questions about the relationship between Caitlin Clark, head coach Stephanie White, and the team's approach to managing player workloads. Some observers have suggested that Clark's competitive drive may not always align with the organization's cautious approach, particularly when it comes to rest and load management. The debate intensified after lineup decisions sparked widespread discussion among fans, with many questioning whether the team was making the best competitive choices. While there is no verified evidence of a heated confrontation behind closed doors, the differing perspectives have become a major storyline. For many supporters, the controversy reflects a larger question. How do you balance protecting a franchise player's long-term health while maximizing the impact of one of the biggest stars the league has ever seen?
It is going to push the BS crap narrative that they are better without Caitlin Clark even further. Stephanie White clearly is going to have another sabotage plan in place, rotating her in every 2 minutes, 3 minutes, a bunch of stupid stuff. Okay, we got to get into what she had to say, man. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, hype the video. That'd be greatly appreciated. Let's get right into things. Stephanie White, what's the plan for Caitlin Clark? And to be honest, regardless of what you say, I don't trust or believe you any damn way.
C is going to be available. She's going to be.
The controversy gained momentum after a press conference that left many fans with more questions than answers. Stephanie White revealed that Caitlin Clark's playing time would be limited, explaining that the team was carefully managing her workload. But as discussions about her minutes appeared to change from one game to the next, skepticism quickly spread. Many supporters questioned why one of the league's brightest stars was being held to such strict restrictions during pivotal moments of the season. To critics, the shifting explanations felt inconsistent, fueling speculation that the coaching strategy wasn't being communicated clearly. The Fever maintained that the plan was designed to protect Clark's long-term health and performance, but for frustrated fans, the uncertainty overshadowed the message. What was intended as a cautious approach soon became one of the most polarizing storylines surrounding the Indiana Fever, igniting debate over whether the team had struck the right balance between player protection.
I don't trust or believe you any damn way.
C is going to be available. She's going to be on a minutes restriction. Around.
I'm annoyed already. Minutes restriction. Here we go again. Can the girl just play basketball, man? Jeez. Here we go.
20. C is going to be available. She's going to be on a minutes restriction around 20 to 25. So we'll see what that looks like. But she will be available and able to play still with a minutes restriction.
You expect this? So 20 to 25. You said it was 20 minutes last game. You only played it for 15. I don't even.
The debate reached another level as critics began questioning whether the Fever's rotation strategy was getting the most out of Caitlin Clark. Frequent substitutions and tightly managed playing stretches made it difficult, they argued, for a player known for her scoring and playmaking to establish the rhythm that fuels her game. Every trip to the bench became another point of frustration for fans, who wondered whether the team's most dynamic offensive weapon was being given enough opportunity to take control. At the same time, Ty Harris assumed more primary ball-handling responsibilities, leading some observers to speculate that the coaching staff was becoming increasingly comfortable with a different offensive approach. Others viewed those adjustments as nothing more than practical lineup management during a demanding season. Regardless of the reasoning, the optics fueled an already intense debate, with every substitution and rotation becoming another flashpoint in the conversation surrounding the Indiana Fever and how best to maximize the impact of one of the league's biggest stars.
Same kind of distribution of how you handle those.
and able to play still with a minutes restriction.
You expect the same kind of distribution of how you handle those minutes by quarter as last time in LA?
No, because that's 10 more minutes a game than we had the last time. So
what do you mean it's 10 more minutes? If the cap is 25, but the cap for last game was 20, that mean it was a 5-minute difference that she could have played, not 10. So you lying already. You're lying already. You could have played her 5 more minutes in the last game at least, and you didn't. Like, stop playing games, Stephanie White. I don't know who you think you're talking to, who you playing with. Stop playing games.
Last time in LA?
Attention quickly shifted to Ty Harris, whose increased role became one of the most debated storylines surrounding the Indiana Fever. As Caitlin Clark's workload was managed because of health concerns, Harris handled more of the primary ball handling responsibilities, prompting widespread discussion about the team's long-term approach. To some fans, the move appeared to be a sensible adjustment while Clark's minutes were limited. Others questioned whether the coaching staff was becoming too comfortable with an offensive system that reduced the influence of its biggest star. Stephanie White frequently pointed to workload management, movement data, and performance metrics as part of the decision-making process, but those explanations did little to quiet the debate. For critics, the analytics-driven approach seemed to prioritize caution over momentum, while supporters argued it reflected modern sports science and long-term player development. Whatever the intent, the perception of uncertainty surrounding the Fever's rotations continued to dominate headlines, leaving fans wondering how the team could best balance protecting its franchise player with maximizing its chances.
Trust this lady. I don't trust her. I don't trust Amber Cox. I don't trust Kelly Crosskoff. I don't trust nothing about this shady-ass organization. I just don't trust their handling of Caitlin Clark. They have dropped the ball. I don't feel like Stephanie White is about to set Caitlin Clark up for success. I just feel like she's about to do her dirty again, bro. I just got a bad feeling.
Last game, was it because it was a back-to-back? Was her back a factor? How did that come to pass for her injury listing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all those things. I mean, obviously, the training staff is, as always, we want to be conservative and think about the long-term, health and wellness
The injury discussion became one of the most closely scrutinized moments of the interview. As Stephanie White explained why Caitlin Clark played limited minutes against the Los Angeles Sparks, her comments immediately sparked debate among fans and analysts. Questions arose over whether the decision was based on long-term workload management or a pre-planned rest strategy, especially after another team representative offered additional clarification during the media session. That exchange fueled speculation about whether the organization's messaging was fully aligned, with critics arguing that the explanation lacked consistency. The Fever maintained that the decision was made with Clark's health and the demands of the season in mind, but the differing explanations only intensified public discussion. For many observers, the issue wasn't simply the reduced playing time. It was the perception that the team had failed to communicate its reasoning clearly, allowing uncertainty and speculation to overshadow the basketball itself.
Relax. You're doing too much.
As a priority.
I'll just add really quick the designation. That was
Why? We don't need you to add nothing about the designation. Just fall back.
our decision because it was a premeditated rest decision. We didn't want to seem like her back flared up again, so it was to just think that it was a scheduled rest. So.
Yeah, in terms of the minutes distribution, as Tony said, just how do you anticipate using those minutes tomorrow?
I mean, it depends on how she feels and how she looks. Certainly you want to try to expand the times that she's on the floor together without having long periods of time where you're sitting and you're getting stiff. Some of that will be collaborating with her and her just letting us.
The conversation surrounding Caitlin Clark's conditioning quickly became another flashpoint in the debate. When the coaching staff emphasized fatigue and workload management as factors in limiting her minutes, many fans questioned whether the explanation matched what they had seen on the court. Supporters pointed to Clark's demanding schedule and reputation for elite conditioning, arguing that she had consistently demonstrated the ability to handle heavy minutes throughout her career. As the discussion continued, some viewers felt the messaging from the coaching staff came across as overly dismissive, particularly when lighthearted remarks during the press conference became part of the public conversation. While those comments may have been intended to ease the moment, critics believe they distracted from legitimate questions about player availability and communication. The result was yet another wave of debate over whether the Fever had struck the right balance between protecting their franchise player and giving one of the league's brightest stars the opportunity to compete at her highest level.
Connected to the knee bone's connected to the thigh bone, like that, because it is all connected and it's important. And different beds, different pillows, travel, like all of those things affect it.
I'm sure you've seen your fair share of Michaela Timpson.
Man, I don't trust this lady, man. I think she about to do Caitlin Clark dirty. Probably try to do that same little 3 minutes and out BS, never allow her to get into a rhythm. And let's be clear, if they do that same rotation pattern for Caitlin Clark, they're going to get the snot beat out of them by the aces. A'ja Wilson is back. So, like, if y'all not going to let her play, y'all going to lose, man. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think. This Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
The timing of the minutes restriction became a major talking point, especially with a matchup against the defending champion Las Vegas Aces on the horizon. Many fans believe the Indiana Fever would need every available weapon to compete against a team led by A'ja Wilson, making any limitation on Caitlin Clark's playing time a source of intense debate. Critics argued that restricting the team's most dynamic playmaker in such a high-profile game could make an already difficult challenge even tougher. The coaching staff, however, maintained that workload management was designed with the long season in mind rather than a single opponent. Even so, the decision divided the fan base. Some supported the cautious approach as an investment in Clark's long-term health, while others believed the Fever should have prioritized putting their best players on the floor when facing one of the WNBA's elite teams. As expectations continued to rise, every coaching decision was viewed through the lens of a franchise trying to balance immediate success with the future of its biggest star.
If they do that same rotation pattern for Caitlin Clark, they're going to get the snot beat out of them by the aces. A'ja Wilson is back. So, like, if y'all not going to let her play, y'all going to lose, man. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think. This Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel.
Every decision surrounding Caitlin Clark's playing time sparked fresh controversy. The Fever insisted the plan was about protecting her long-term health, but many fans questioned whether their franchise star was being held back at the wrong time. Frequent substitutions made it difficult for Clark to establish her rhythm, while Ty Harris's increased role fueled even more debate about the team's direction. As the criticism grew, the focus shifted away from basketball and toward coaching decisions, leadership, and communication. For many supporters, the biggest question wasn't whether Clark could handle the workload. It was whether the Fever were making the most of one of the WNBA's brightest stars. The sports science explanation quickly became another source of controversy. Stephanie White pointed to travel, recovery, sleep, and workload as reasons for carefully managing Caitlin Clark's minutes, but many fans remained unconvinced. Critics argued that the focus on recovery metrics seemed excessive for such an important stretch of the season, believing the priority should have been maximizing the impact of the team's biggest star. The discussion intensified when a team representative clarified that Clark's limited minutes were part of a planned workload strategy, prompting even more questions about the consistency of the team's messaging. While the Fever maintained that every decision was made with Clark's long-term health in mind, the differing explanations fueled speculation and frustration. For many supporters, the controversy wasn't just about one game. It was about whether the organization had found the right balance between protecting its franchise player and putting its best lineup on the court when it mattered most, and whether it's maximizing the impact. The debate over Caitlin Clark's minutes isn't going away. The Fever say the restrictions are about protecting her long-term health, but many fans believe they're limiting the impact of one of the league's biggest stars. Every rotation and every stretch with Ty Harris handling the offense has sparked more questions about the team's strategy. Whether the coaching staff is being wisely cautious or overly conservative remains a matter of debate, but one thing is clear. Every decision surrounding Clark is under the microscope, and the pressure on the Indiana Fever continues to grow. The debate over Caitlin Clark's role continues to intensify. Critics argue that strict minute restrictions have limited her ability to find a rhythm, while the Fever maintain they're focused on protecting her long-term health. Every possession with Ty Harris running the offense has fueled more discussion about the team's direction and whether it's maximizing the impact of its biggest star. As the scrutiny grows, so does the pressure on Stephanie White and the organization to deliver results. This story has become about more than rotations or playing time. It's about leadership, communication, and the challenge of balancing player health with winning. With expectations at an all-time high, every decision the Fever make will continue to be watched, debated, and remembered.